Welcome to Hobby Nonsense, everybody, where the show's made up and the points don't matter. It's a Who's Line Is It Anyway reference. If you are a fan of this show or that show, you're in good company. If you're not, then I'm sorry, you don't know what's happening, and I don't either. So thank you for listening to Hobby Nonsense, guys. This is going to be an interesting show because it's going to be a diversion from cards later on in our interview, and not complete diversion, of course. We do actually talk about cards in and out of it, but I'm going to have Robin Black, who is a toy collector slash flipper. She has her own shop where she goes out to garage sales, estate sales, finds toys, some for people who are specifically looking for some, others that she knows that have value. She'll sell it on her eBay shop at flea markets. It's really, really interesting, actually. I think you guys are going to like it, especially a lot of this stuff kind of coincides with, we talk about like Pokemon cards, finding those at garage sales and what's more collectible, some of the bigger flips, things like that. So it was a fun conversation. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up here in a minute. Before we do that, let's go ahead and hit a few of the news in the non-sport world before we get there. First off, though, Courtyard.io is still sponsor of the show and is one of these things where I feel like it's kind of weird. I bring them up and I would talk about them either way because it is a service that I use before they ever approached about doing a sponsorship. But it's also like one of those where I don't know how to talk it up without sounding like a fanboy. And I don't know. I get embarrassed sounding like a fanboy. But that being said, I'm going to let someone else do the fanboying because someone reached out to me over the weekend. They went to Courtyard.io. They used the hobby promo code. There's a link on the Instagram. There's a link in the Facebook group on non-sports cards nonsense. But they just used the hobby code. They got themselves free. Basically, they don't have to worry about any money coming back. It's not, I hate to say free because you have to pay for it, but then they immediately pay you back if you don't make at least what you spent. Does that make sense? So you buy a card out of their vending machine, say it's $25, say it's $50, either one will work. And you get your money back if you don't get a card that's worth at least what you spent on it. Now, in his case, he bought 4 cards. He said 3 of the cards were worth more than what he paid, which was $25 each, including one that was worth $130. Now, I can't say it's going to happen to everybody every single time. In my case, I would say it's probably, in all honesty, maybe a 50-50 split, maybe 60-40, as far as like 60-40, 60% being a card that has been worth less than the $25 I spent and 40% being worth more. I don't know. I don't know how it works to where like they continue to make money on it because it seems like the math isn't mathing. But that being the case, if you've not checked it out, go see for yourself. Hopefully you do well. And if you don't, on your first one, if you use hobby, you don't have to worry about it. You get your money back. All right. Cards. First, WWE cards. So WWE has announced that they are going to be doing their debut patch, similar to what Topps has already announced with baseball, football, basketball, that kind of thing. The debut patch is interesting because they don't have like a normal uniform in WWE, if you haven't noticed. So they said, I guess it's going to be on a boot. This has been big news in the WWE community. I'm not since I was a kid. I haven't really watched WWE as regularly or at all at times. And I feel bad for that because there is a lot of showmanship. It's a fun experience from what everybody else talks about. But that being said, the fact that this is such a big deal and the cards have already been such a big deal with these recent Topps releases, I can only imagine these first patches are going to do a couple things. They're going to, of course, raise the price of those boxes. So I don't know how. I know it's going to raise those prices. I can't imagine it's going to blast them off to like, what some of the more modern mainstream sport boxes are when they have the patches in them. However, it will probably increase some prices, but there's going to be value, right? Like that's one of the things we're okay with sometimes when the box increases. If there's value that's there, then hey, we're happy about it. So This is going to obviously be a card that people are chasing, whoever it is. The fact that they're going to be on the boot, I think it. I don't know. I don't know if you'll see it as much. I don't know how much I love that it's on the boot. I wish it was like on, you know, on that like the hip. You know, not on. I was gonna say like on their unitard thing. It's very weird to explain like what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying. On the hip of whatever uniform they're wearing, they're covering their privates. Okay, let's just say, call a spade a spade. They have to do that for our TV. It would be on whatever part of that uniform is covering their privates. This has gone off the rails already, but the interview is great, so stay tuned for that. So, anyways, that comes out. I guess they haven't released what boxes it will be in. We will wait and see. They have 3 different patches that they showed. There are 2 of them that are for debut, so debut Raw and debut SmackDown, but they're 2 different kinds of patches. And then there's one for WrestleMania. The patches look really cool. They actually look kind of big, but they don't have any comparison to, something to compare size to. So maybe it'll all fit on one card. But either way, very cool patches. That's something to expect coming up in the near future. The other announcement that was that went on at SmackDown over the last, or WrestleMania, excuse me, over this last weekend out in Las Vegas, was they had the Topps Cactus Jack, the WWE Cactus Jack and WrestleMania collab boxes that got released at the event. These boxes are going for like $1,100 on eBay right now, sold. They have Travis Scott autos in there. They'll have Rhea Ripley. They've got Undertaker. They've got a number of people signing in it. And I think every box has like a card you're guaranteed to pull at least 25 and under, a serialized card that's 25 and under. That'll be cool. I mean, for anybody chasing those cards, I'm sure that's very popular. $1,100 right now. That seems like a lot for a box of wrestling, given where the market is. However, I know it's still growing, and the fact that you have the Travis Scott and he's very popular, yada yada yada. But yeah, I guess I'm curious if anybody gets one of those boxes, if they feel like it was worth it. I'd be curious to hear about that. But yeah, the autos in there seem relatively chaseable. John Cena, I believe, has autos in that product, as well as a few others. Actually, hang on. No, he does. It wasn't alphabetical. John Cena does have autos in there. Roman Reigns has autos in there. The Rock apparently does have autos in there. So yeah, some good pulls for sure if you can get it. That was all of the WWE updates I had for you. The other big update before our interview. First off, Masterwork has been phenomenal. Absolutely, I love it. That and Galaxy are competing in my heart for which is number one. I don't know. I honestly cannot say at this moment, because Galaxy has some of the best art on any card. It really, especially this last year product, has really drawn me to that one. And I've said a couple times that I think that was my favorite release, or I guess is my favorite set would be this Star Wars Galaxy set. However, now that I'm seeing the Masterwork set this year, especially these panorama sketches, I pulled one for a guy, which was like the Obi-Wan, watching the R2-D2 message of Leia, help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope message. That sketch was absolutely incredible. But then I've found out, I haven't seen any of these myself, but there's they call them a triptych. I don't know why. Why can't we just call it a tri-sketch? That seems easy enough. But they call it a triptych sketch, where it folds out into 3 panels. These things look absolutely amazing from the pictures I've seen. But yeah, I have not pulled one myself. That said, the first couple cases I had absolutely phenomenal cards in them. We pulled a number of Shin Hati, Sabine Wren. Anybody who's in the know knows like those are some more popular characters. We haven't pulled any major, like any really big names as far as like, Mark Hamill has some duels and Han Solo has some duels and things like that. We haven't pulled a dual auto of anybody major from like the original trilogy or anything, but the fact that you have still, I guess, some very chaseable names in average boxes has been very good for the price of the box. I've got like 10 more cases coming in. I know guys are continuing to get a little bit here and there. I think from what the math has come out to be, it seems like there's maybe less than 3,000 cases. That's what a couple of us kind of came up with as far as like factoring in the odds of some of the rarer hits to try and figure out how many cases are out there. So I don't think there's a ton of this. So I've been very happy with that. I'd be curious to know what you guys think as well. The other big release, now this is one that has not come out. It comes out this Friday. That's the April the 25th. We have Pop Century. Leaf Pop Century comes out this Friday. This is actually one of the products that I first, like when I got back into the hobby and got into the non-sport side of the hobby back in 2020, 2021. This is one of those products that I was first introduced to. I had no idea that Pop Century was a thing. I have been a huge fan of it ever since. I try and get some every year. And last year I started breaking it for the first time. And I'll be breaking it again this year. I got like 5 cases of it. I kind of wish I had more. It gets me excited every time it comes out. Inevitably, you start pulling, say, a Real Housewife and some actress from a TV show from the 70s out of the same box, and then you only had like 2 other hits. You get a little disappointed. This year, I feel like they took some of those notes. Leaf has added 2 additional cards to these boxes. So this year you'll have 2, they call they're 1-of-1 pre-production proofs or printing plates. I don't know necessarily what the difference between the pre-production proof and the printing plate will be, but those will be added to these boxes. So they're saying every box has 6 cards in it. Every case will have a Pearl card like they did last year. They're also saying that every case will have at least 2 multi-signed cards in there. So at least multiple signatures on at least 2 of the cards. Now, let me go over some of the newer names in here, some of the names that they have listed. And some of them were in past years, but some are definitely newer. So Al Pacino, Anthony Hopkins, Ben Stiller, Brie Larson, Chris Hemsworth, Elizabeth Olsen, Cillian Murphy, Emilia Clarke, Gisele Bündchen, Halle Berry, Kate Beckinsale, Macaulay Culkin, Margot Robbie, Mel Gibson, Michael Douglas, Natalie Portman, Ozzy Osbourne, Paul Rudd, Sylvester Stallone, Robert De Niro, Benedict Cumberbatch, Chris Pine, Drew Barrymore, Helen Hunt, Marissa Tomei, Kevin Bacon, and Ethan Hawke. Those names, some of them I know sound familiar because they've been in previous years. Others are new this year. I am personally excited for some of these dual and triple, and I think there's one card that has like 16 autos on it. It's a 4 fold out booklet. But some of the other Pearl cards, there are cut autos in there. Every Pearl listed on the checklist is listed as a redemption. So first off, just keep that in mind. I don't know if you actually will get some of these Pearls in person, but apparently, according to the checklist, they're all redemptions. But some of those include cut signatures from Bill Clinton. It's got 3 presidents: Bill Clinton, Trump, Biden. Then you have Laurence Olivier, Leonard Cohen, Mick Jagger, Orville Wright, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Rocky. Actually, I don't know. Rocky Maivia. Oh, I am going to get butchered for that. I'm sure that's somebody, and I do not know who it is or how to pronounce that name. But then they also have Taylor Swift cut autos in there. Now, granted, they probably took that from the other Taylor Swift cards that they had before, but still, those are some of the cut autos. Some of the cooler dual autos in there are it's like Ben Stiller and Brett Favre from like something. There's Something About Mary. The card itself, like just looking at the picture of it, is pretty hilarious. You've got that. You've got a number of cards from like Scream, other horror movies, that genre, which typically does very well. Those are in there. There's going to be Liv Tyler, Uma Thurman, Bryce Dallas Howard, Kate Beckinsale, You've got a number of just like A-list stars, like female stars in there. And then, yeah, the fact that you've got Halle Berry in there as someone who's a fan of Castaway and what is the show? Oh man, the show with Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser and Mad About You. Oh my goodness, I almost blanked out there for a second, guys. Mad About You. Helen Hunt is in this product as well. I don't know why I care about that, but I do. I think that's cool. And then, of course, Margot Robbie is still in here. You still have autos from Clint Eastwood. Also, you have an auto from Val Kilmer. There's a one of Val Kilmer in here. I'm certainly assuming they've already gotten that auto. That'll be interesting to find out more. But they've got Ray Liotta still on a bunch of these. Now, granted, these are sticker autos, right? So I assume that's how they're doing that in a lot of cases. One other thing I didn't mention about the boxes is it says there's 2 on-card signatures in every case. So there are going to be on-card autos this year. I don't think I saw that, or I remember seeing that in last year's product. So anyways, that's kind of Pop Century in a nutshell. If you haven't checked it out, if you like celebrity autos, it is pretty cool. I'm hoping to see a lot more names that are familiar to us for good reasons, and less names of people from All in the Family or, lesser known characters of TV shows that nobody watches anymore. That'd be really nice. We'll see when it comes out this Friday. But I will be breaking that over on Fanatics Live if you guys want to join in. I think I'm going to do some like letter breaks, maybe some cereal breaks as well. But anyways, that'll be fun. Okay. All of that out of the way, I think it's time to get to our interview with Robin Black. Well, it's that time of our show today where I have brought on our guest, and our guest is a little bit different than what we usually do. We often talk cards on this podcast, as you all know, but today we're doing something a little different. We have Robin Black. Robin is joining us locally. She's a local to the Middle Tennessee area, and she is not so much of a specific card hunter, but more of a toy hunter. Is that right? I
think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I've definitely dabbled in non-sports cards from time to time.
Have you really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, tell me more about this. How did you get into this, Robin?
You know what? 18 years ago, I guess it was 96. So it's a lot longer than 18 years ago. But the very first toy I sold was a Tickle Me Elmo. They were hot that year. They had just come out. Yes. I managed to get my hands on 2. Wow. Sold them for what a high school kid would have thought was a small fortune.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I mean, I was in, not to date myself, I guess I was in elementary school. I was like, I don't know, 5th grade or something. And,
sure.
But I remember that at the time hearing on the news, people went out and bought Tickle Me Elmos trying to get them before everybody else. And then I know there had to have been flippers involved with that.
I liked Elmo at the time. It was something that I thought was funny. It was a hilarious toy when it first came out, just the technology of it. And then I sold it for over $500 a piece.
No way. In 95?
96. I was a high school senior. And honestly, that felt like a lot of money.
And that kind of like got your motor running for like, hey, maybe I could do this again.
I dabbled from time to time. I mean, everybody loves yard sales, things like that. I was raised every Saturday. We went to garage sales and looked. And so I just never knew what I was going to come across. My parents, encouraged that. So that was kind of fun. My mom definitely loved to see what I could find and what I could flip. And that was well before eBay. Oh, okay. I started eBay really early. On it, off and on, and sell a few things. And then 12 years ago in November, I was laid off from my corporate job. And was driving down the road here not too far from this studio, actually. And there was a house that was being remodeled, and they had put a giant pile of stuff out front. And I was just genuinely curious. So I stopped and asked the guy, I said, can I look through this? He said, you can have anything you want. It's just trash.
Oh, wow.
And I live about 5 minutes away from there. So I filled my truck. I have a pickup truck, and I filled it twice and took the stuff back home.
Wow.
And that's where I started my business.
And
it's so not trash is what I came up with, because there was so much money in that pile of stuff that I ended up making that it really wasn't trash.
Wow. Do you remember any of the items?
One of the coolest things I got out of there, oddly enough, was I'm sure we all remember playing with like the cardboard tray puzzles with like a character that you put together, 10 or 12 pieces, not anything too big, but one of those, they had 2 different ones. They were exactly the same. One was sealed, one wasn't. And it was the Roadrunner from, Wile E. Coyote. And
oh, yeah. Okay.
And it was standing next to a car that was also the Roadrunner. It was a Ford promotional piece. I had no idea this existed.
Okay.
I sold the unsealed one sold for $250. The sealed one sold for $400. And I parlayed that into the business that I'm still running to this day.
And that's how It's So Not Trash
came to be. Yeah, because it was funny because the whole truth of it all is, a lot of people do think things like that are trash. And
Absolutely.
Then you realize there are people out there looking for it.
Is it one of those things where you just have to kind of do your own research just to find, I imagine you going and picking up a bunch of stuff that's on the side of the road and going home with it is, I'm going to do a lot of Googling, and every, 10 items or every 20 items, maybe one of those things has value, or is it different than that?
It can be. And I'll tell you this, a lot of people now, everybody uses Google Lens and a lot of those. There's a lot less guesswork than there used to be. That's
nice. That is convenient,
it's
I will
nice.
say.
It does, but it's also, I've been doing this a long time. And there are things that you learn not to buy. There are prices you learn not to pay.
Uh-huh. Do you have an example?
Well, I mean, everybody's people you're going to run into, especially if you're out in flea markets or even locally, there's a particular thrift store that I won't name specifically, but they have a habit of printing out the pages from eBay. And attaching it for their pricing. And what I tell people kind of when I'm out, because you'll get pushback sometimes. I mean, I don't tell people I'm a dealer because nobody wants to hear that you're going to resell their kids' toys.
Sure.
And some people get really negative about it. They have a negative connotation to it.
Okay.
And so it's something that, it's not like I'm going, hi, I'm here to resell your toys, trying to get a deal. But what I will say is when people kind of approach the idea that here's what they sell for on eBay, a lot of people who don't do this business will start with listing prices.
Yeah, I've noticed that it happens in cards all the time. People don't look at the sold; they look at whatever it's listed for. Yeah,
I tell people, I'm like, you can sell jars of dirt for $1 million if you want to. If you want to list them for that, you can. Chances are you're not going to sell one, but you can list it.
Do you ever notice? I noticed in the card world that we have people that are manipulating prices by going in and they'll mark something sold for, they'll list something for sale that maybe twice, 3 times, even more what the last comp was. They'll have a buddy go in and buy it, and then they may never actually pay for it, and then it's listed as a sold price. Do you see things in the resale toy market, things like that?
I think that definitely happens. I think you'll see a lot of that. I mean, I think, like Beanie Babies, you'll see listings for Beanie Babies that have sold for $15,000 or $20,000.
Not real.
I have my suspicions about what's really going on there.
Yeah, okay.
But what I don't feel is going on there is somebody building their collection.
I saw there's some sites that sell cards, but I've also seen 1 or 2 of them recently talk about Beanie Babies, and I asked this to Ray Solorio. Do you know him at all?
I don't think we've met.
So he does some flipping when he's not doing Pokemon collecting and things like that. But I asked him if Beanie Babies are coming back, and you mentioned something off air. Is it time to collect Beanie Babies again, or
it's time to play with them?
It's time
to let your kids play with them. Just let
take them out of the package.
You're not ruining anybody's college tuition hopes if you just let your kids play with them.
It's not coming back anytime soon, is what you're telling me.
It's not. There's always going to be somewhat of a market, but I mean, I sell also at the Nashville Flea Market, which is once a month to try to just kind of flip stock, meet people. I have a really great customer base that continues to come out and support me every month. I love watching these kids grow up. There are people who have been shopping with me that came and shopped for their child's nursery. And now, they're 2 kids into this. And so it's a lot of fun to kind of watch these folks and kind of, be a part of their toys that they're adding to their childhood. So that kind of stuff is really great.
Okay. So tell me this then, what would you say is more popular right now? Is there something that's you have to keep your eye out for more so at this moment than maybe at another time in the
2 toy lines that consistently sell for me that I literally tell people I can't keep it. Is Toy Story.
Toy Story?
All the movies, different Toy Stories. There's a lot of generations going through Toy Story.
Sure.
And of course, we have a 5th movie coming out next year.
Oh, is there a 5th
Toy Story
movie?
5, yeah.
Oh, I actually did. I did hear something
So you
about
figure
this.
there's going to be a whole other little group of kids that are going to get to see that movie and relate to those characters, but also Godzilla.
Really?
Oddly enough, Godzilla, King Kong, that kind of stuff.
Now, are you selling online at all, or is this locally mainly?
I sell online some of the higher priced items, and I have a mix of autographs that I've collected through the years, and then toys. If there are some people that I'm constantly shopping for, I've been fortunate enough. This is my 12th year at the flea market. I'm very lucky that I kind of know. I literally keep a list in my phone of what people are looking for.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm literally buying things with some people in mind. Like I have a customer for stompers. If you remember the 70s, there's a 70s set that's a stompers that were like motorized 4x4 vehicles. They were kind of glorified Hot Wheels.
I'm Googling it as we speak. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is. It does look like a Hot Wheel.
Exactly. But you literally put a AA battery in that. And then they would drive on their own.
Oh, so, wow.
I mean, you talk about technology for the late 70s, early 80s. Like we were cooking with gas.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So, I have customers in mind for that. Godzilla specific people. I mean, I'm very often shopping with certain people in mind.
Now you said something about autographs. Are you looking for people's autographs?
I have a pretty extensive collection through the years that
you do?
Mm-hmm, yep.
From on items or just like from books or other signings?
You know what? For a really good story, the one that I tell people I will never sell. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, I was in college and I went to Belmont and had no business spending $750 on an autograph in the 2000.
Oh, okay, wow.
Did not have any money, any business. I mean, I was working my way through college. Obviously, had no reason to be doing it. But a friend of mine referred me to a dealer who had a postcard signed by Patsy Cline.
Patsy Cline. Oh, wow. That's really cool.
And so I was a big fan of hers when I was a kid.
I don't think she's signing anymore.
She's really tough now.
Yeah. Okay.
And did not have the means, did not need to be spending the money, but I begged the guy to let me put it on layaway. Uh-huh. So I paid it out over 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
$750. It was a postcard, like a little 5x7, completely written into her hand. And it was part of a collection where she had a fan club president at the time.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And was writing back and forth, kind of keeping the fan club alive.
They take a lot of these signatures from whether it's actors and actresses to, politicians to obviously athletes. And especially if they've passed away or they're older, they will take those now, cut those and put them into cards.
Which is awesome.
There's an actual market out there for people who have a lot of those old signatures. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but yeah, I know Fanatics, who's kind of like the parent company of Topps these days, Topps, the card company, they have people going out looking for those kinds of things. So if you're ever
they need to hit us
selling them, yeah, I know. Apparently,
but that's the one piece I tell people I won't sell. Okay. It's from 1958. On the back side of it is a photograph of it was written on a postcard from an airplane. She was on an airplane, cool. And so she wrote she was on her way to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably the neatest piece. It's the piece I tell people I'll never sell.
So obviously autographs are a thing. Toys, Godzilla, Toy Story. What about, you said like Bluey? That's a thing that?
Yeah, Bluey now. I mean, there's characters in that line. I don't know if you've ever watched Bluey or had the pleasure of watching it. It's 3 seasons in a movie, basically, I guess. It's kind of what it can, but there are different characters for different things. Mm-hmm. They actually retired some of those characters because it was bigger in Australia before it hit here.
Yes, I've heard that.
And so there's an enormous market, literally an international market, but some of the products were only ever available in Australia.
So if you're looking out for items that are that recent, I mean, I would think some of that's got to be junk though, right? As well? Like, I mean, how do you differentiate between, you just have to know what's popular and just keep a lookout for that? Or do you just, again, it's just collecting and then doing some Google researching?
I very much tried to, I don't know everything. That's one thing that I don't think you can ever know everything about your business. There are definitely people out there who are more knowledgeable than I am, but I don't forget something once I learn it. So once I learn that there's a toy line or there's something that I can profit from, I'm aware of it moving forward. And it's really great because, I mean, even years ago, I stumbled upon a rubber-faced stuffed animal. Honestly, it was creepy. I bought it because it was creepy. Okay. It looked like a sleeping bunny rabbit, but it was like a blue, and it had a rubber face. Mm-hmm. And it was the Rushton line. And Rushton was a product that I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
It was a toy company that was really high quality, and it started in the late, 1917, 1918. Ran through 83, but it started in Atlanta by a woman, and her family really took an interest in quality.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I can't explain why, but I have stumbled upon, the very first one I stumbled upon accidentally. I ended up selling for over $600 to someone in Japan.
Really? Wow.
So there's a big international following for these particular toys.
Okay.
So it's like, I'm obviously always looking now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've sold a couple more since then. but it was something that I didn't know about. And, you buy things almost like you can recognize quality at some point if you've done this long enough.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, is it like one of those where sometimes you have no idea what it is, but it's like, it looks well made. It looks like something that could be liked. And therefore, like, if you don't have time to Google it, will you just grab it and buy it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I have to imagine that. I mean, how often does that happen though? Like, are you ever really in positions where you don't have a moment to like take, Google out, take out your phone?
Oh, absolutely. If you've ever been to an estate sale.
Okay.
Those are, I joke, but I mean, you kind of, a lot of times now they'll photograph, through the house or whatever the space that they're clearing. And so they'll photograph it. And so if you do it for a living, especially, or if you're very serious about your collection, you will start to go through the pictures kind of maniacally.
Okay.
and try to close.
Zooming in and like checking.
Yeah. And hey, is that what I think it is? Or, let me see what that is. And so that's very much takes on when you get there. Usually those lines are whoever shows up first gets to go in first. And it can take on a Hunger Games kind of aspect. So in those moments, you are often keeping, getting an item and putting it in your bag or basket or whatever that they'll allow you to have. And you may go back later and revisit, like, do I really want to get this? And, whatever. I'm not really good at putting things back. Once I pick something up, I prefer to, it's often going with me.
Now, I am curious too, when it comes to the I guess, areas where you're going to buy these things. Estate sale, garage sales, I assume. Like, what other places and what are the best places you feel to find things?
I think yard sales are fantastic because most often, people are wanting to get rid of something. Either they're moving, their kids are grown. I mean, you will always have that mom who is like, forget this, I just want this gone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that I paid $25 for this figure, you can have it for $2.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Those kinds of things. Like, they just want it out of their lives.
Sure.
They're not thinking of it as an investment or to resell. They just literally want it out of their home. They don't want to step on it anymore.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Long-term investments, things, I mean, if you look, Legos traditionally outperform the stock market.
Really?
Yes.
Legos outperform the stock market.
If you look over time, traditionally, like if you buy a Lego set, it happens to be retired, that it'll resell at a much higher amount than you would expect it to.
I mean, this is very good to know. I'm selling all my stocks. I'm going to buy Legos right now.
Sure.
What about, you mentioned Star Wars toys. I know, obviously we know, like there's some, like the Boba Bounty Hunter action figure that was recently, I think, made, I don't know if it set a record, but it sold for a few tens of thousands of dollars. Sure. Do you ever find Star Wars, like old Star Wars stores, or is that one of those where people just know, like, hey, this could be valuable?
No, I mean, I think there's still always going to be an element of people that don't care.
Really? Okay.
I mean, there's always going to be those people who are just getting rid of stuff, or they don't know, they don't even bother to look. Like, they may just get the toy box from upstairs, bring it downstairs, and you look through it and bring them a pile. And, I mean, there's always still those moments.
Oh, okay. All right.
But there's also always going to be those people who overprice things.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I don't fight with people. I don't argue with people. I certainly don't disrespect people when I'm out and about. Like, I'm not the type of person to offer you a nickel for something. Like, has to be, if you want to put, decent things out of the universe, there has to be an air of fairness.
Yeah, of course.
I won't buy it and sell it usually. Like, I will not, set a price or have somebody, it's not my responsibility to educate people.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you feel that way in sports cards too. Like, it's not my responsibility to tell you how much this is worth. You kind of have to know a little bit.
We talk about that a lot, where you go to a card show and there's people who just have their cards out and you ask how much it is, and then they spend the next 5 minutes researching it. And it's like,
sure.
This is things you should have already done. Yeah. Sure. So you're finding this is a similar thing in the toy world.
What's interesting is when I do the flea market, I don't price things.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't. But now I know what I'm going to charge for.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I have a range, I know kind of, and people tend to be fair with me. I tend to be fair with people. I'm not trying to make $1 million out there.
Sure.
I mean, I will always accept tips.
Yeah.
But, there's just no reason, because I sell toys and people handle things excessively, especially kids. You can't get upset about that.
Yeah.
And pricing things, I tried it for a few flea markets and just, it didn't really work for me.
Can I ask something? You can feel free to say you don't want to answer, you don't, whatever. Is this a job where you can make more than like 6 figures in a year?
It probably is for some people. It's not quite for me. I do it full time. I've done it for years. I make a comfortable living. I'm happy.
Yeah. But people need to know you're not necessarily going to go into this and say, oh, I could make, $500,000 in a year flipping toys. but you could make at least enough to be comfortable. And I think for a lot
and
of
there are
people,
I mean, if you talk about scales and things like that, like there are people out there buying cases of things, flipping them, turning them, from an Amazon standpoint, and things like that.
Okay,
like, that's not what I do.
Sure.
I'm very much a small fish.
But I think a lot of people probably do this too as like a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have
Absolutely.
another job and then they do this on the side.
And I did that for years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
if you're not at a garage sale or a estate sale, are you going through eBay and just looking for people who like misspelled things, or like, I know that's like in the card world, that's another way people go after items.
I actually do there's a different websites you can kind of go to and bid. But they're almost estate auctions that people will list things. I do a lot of that. And then a couple times a year around here, there's a couple of consignment sales that I love to go to.
Okay. All right.
For newer product, kind of the Paw Patrol and things like that. Just because my booth tends to be something where mom and dad are shopping. They're looking at E.T., they're looking at She-Ra.
Yeah.
But then, I try to also have, the newer Transformers and like the Rescue Bots. And then I try to have Paw Patrol and Bluey and things because that's what the kids now want.
What about like Disney and Marvel toys? Anything popular there? Like, things that you purposely look out for?
I always, there's kind of a 12-inch line of figures that they sell for Marvel, that those people, as far as people playing with them, I traditionally do well with those. I'll start, usually most markets I'll have 10 to 20 and they sell every time. Like I don't keep them.
Really? Okay.
Things like that. The kids still want to play with figures. And
Older
that's
or newer?
Newer.
Oh, okay.
2021, 2022, newer
There's
stuff.
Still market on the
Sure, because they're $10 to $12 a piece.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you can save half of that,
sure.
That's kind of where those things. And most of the time, I will say, most people that come to my booth, as far as the physical sales, the kids just want a toy.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And my joke is always, I'm cheaper than Target.
That's fair. Actually, that's you're giving me good ideas to take my daughter down to the flea market on the weekend.
Absolutely.
Now, what would you say some of the biggest flips that you've done have been?
Probably one of the Rushton was a big one.
Okay.
And like I said, it's just an individual item, Tickle Me Elmo. It's very common for me, I guess, when I'm able to get a hold of it.
Oh, okay.
From time to time. Like I said, the Rushton stuff does well. Recently I sold a samurai board game that I literally got at a church sale for 50 cents.
Oh, really?
And I sold it for $139, which is I'm not getting wealthy, but you think about the profit.
Yeah, exactly. The return percentage.
That was solid. There's a lot of board games out there that are reasonably valuable.
Okay.
So I'm always looking.
What about, I know that there was a time where people were always holding on to their McDonald's toys, like especially the older ones, like, in fact, I think, let me look, and that reminded me, I think in this drawer, I have, is it at home? I may have taken it home. I've got some Big Mac sauce when they released that.
That's awesome.
Take that.
I don't know if I'd eat that if I were you.
No.
I'm concerned about its refrigeration.
Well, we'll see one day. No, I can't find, yeah, I think I took it home. So I had this McDonald's Happy Meal toy that was a DeLorean from, I think, 1990, 1991, whenever Back to the Future came out, or the third one, I think it was. But it had a thing where you would run it across the ground, and as you did, it would spark. Like it would spark in the back. Granted, you're not getting toys like that at McDonald's anymore. No. But I looked online, and I was thinking, oh, man, I want one. I've got adult money. I'm going to go out and buy one. And they were like $3 all day. And I'm thinking, how is it? And they were still in the bag. They were still like, and I'm like, is
think
that
about
really
how many McDonald's you think about. Like if you think about nationally,
sure,
we're talking tens of thousands of stores.
Yeah,
all getting boxes after box after box.
Yeah, that's
so.
Fair.
For stuff that's now, I tell people just play with it. Just play with it.
So that's not like a huge market necessarily, at least not for you, as far as like going after the McDonald's Happy Meal toy.
There are toys I'm always looking for, and it's funny that you bring that up because I'm a toy dealer, and I'm sure you run into this with cards. Like you have to draw limits for yourself.
Sure.
Because otherwise you collect everything, or all of a sudden everything stays home, and that doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
But I do collect Astro Snicks. Astro Snicks and Nerfles are the two things I allow myself to collect. And Astro Snicks were a McDonald's toy that were kind of a astronaut knockoff of Smurfs.
Oh,
They're
really?
made by the same company. They were green faces and they had little brown spacesuit outfits, and they came out in the mid 80s. And
I'm doing a Google search of this. So
they're not exceptionally valuable, but they are one of the more valuable of the McDonald's toys.
Okay, Astro Smurf.
Astro Snicks.
Or Astro Snake, I'm sorry. Astro
SNIC. Yeah, SNIK.
All right. I have now seen a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not.
I could literally raise an Astro Snake army at my home.
That's funny. Okay, so Astro Snake, and do they hold value, or is that just something more personal to you?
It's personal to me, but it's also of the McDonald's lines. I mean, those toys are, $10, $12 a piece often. Really? You may be able to find a lot of them for 20 or 30, but what you're talking about, like a lot of the McDonald's toys, $2-3.
What is there anything that you would say, like, guys, keep your eyes out for, because this holds like some good value, and it's actually, you're able to find it, but maybe not in our local area. You've been trying to find something that is available, I guess, out in the marketplace. It's just
What's really interesting, we touched on the Toy Story stuff earlier.
Yeah.
Of the Toy Story toys, Bullseye tends to be one of the harder ones to find.
Bullseye was the horse, right?
It was the horse, yes. And he was made as he was Woody's horse.
Woody's horse.
He was made as
I'm so sorry.
You're fine. But he was made as a figure that was maybe 6 inches or 8 inches, like along the lines of plastic. He was also made as a plush.
Oh, okay.
But that's something that's less common, but still an easy $20, $40 flip. I mean, nobody's going to get rich, but if you have a stack of them, but more common and more accessible to a lot of people, but also along the Toy Story, the villains.
Okay.
Like
Zurg.
Pete and Zurg and Pete and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prospector Pete. Those guys tend to bring more value. I mean, Prospector Pete, $75 roughly. It's a toy that was not as common.
Yeah, all right.
I had one at the flea market recently, like in the last few months, and he showed up in the pictures because every Thursday I post my pictures on my Facebook page of what I'm setting up.
Okay.
And a gentleman came down the next morning dressed in a suit and tie. Did not look like your traditional kind of flea market, ready to spend his day shopping guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I'm here for he called him. He said, for Smelly Pete."
For Smelly Pete, not
and I
even
said,
Stinky.
I said, I think you're here for Stinky Pete.
Yeah.
Stinky Pete. And he was like, my wife sent me he had his phone, and his wife had sent him down there because that's what they needed to complete their set.
Oh my goodness.
So he was at my booth at like 8:30 in the morning looking for Pete,
Smelly Pete, you're coming to the wrong area.
Exactly,
maybe.
wrong guy.
Okay, so
those things, I mean, you got to think a lot of people now have played with those toys through the years. I mean, you figure the last 20 years.
Sure.
A lot of houses have had those.
Man, I want to know too, when you're out at these garage sales, when you're at a estate sale, do you ever do storage lockers too?
I've never purchased a storage locker. I have one.
Okay.
I have one.
Do you ever run across like cards, Pokemon and or sport cards?
Absolutely.
You do?
Very often. Mm-hmm.
Do you go after, do you look at them at all? Or do you just say, it's not, like you said before, if you collected everything, you'd end up buying way too much. So is that one of those things where you just kind of say, hey, that's for the next guy? Or do you look at it?
No, I'm always willing to look. And I think that's part of, you talked about where you get things. Of course, there's stores, there's Goodwills, there's all those kinds of things. Of course I look.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very fortunate too, from time to time, people will contact me to purchase a collection.
Oh, okay.
And very often, as families, like I told you, I've got a lot of families that I've been buying and selling with for years.
Yeah.
I end up buying toys back as kids age out.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay,
so that's
cool.
kind of funny. People are like, are you ready to look? And of course.
Yeah. But like if you were to find a Pokemon book, like a collection of cards.
Recently did.
You did? Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me ask, was it a garage sale? Or
It was a garage sale. And it was just a binder. And I'm not very educated about most of that. I know that the big names.
Sure.
It was something that was after my generation.
Gotcha.
For things that I played with or knew about. So I'm not as educated as I am on some topics.
Okay. Did you when you look through it, did you pull out your phone to check for yourself, or did you just say?
I just asked how much. I flipped through them and I saw there were a couple Pikachu. There was like a couple, and I recognized the characters, and I was like, let me grab this.
Oh, you did buy it?
I did. It was $10 for the binder. It wasn't a whole lot of risk.
Oh, okay.
I've done that a few times. There's always people will just put them out. And then every once in a while you'll have somebody who's they're set out there with.
Well, are you aware that right now, like the Pokemon market is at one of the highest points it's ever been?
Sure.
I mean, after taking that home, have you looked at it yet? I mean, I'm sure you look at a lot. You get a lot of things.
I took it to a local shop and had them look at it for me. So there wasn't anything to kind of send off, or wasn't really anything. It wasn't any home runs, but
okay. So at least we now know that, because I was about to start making offers for this binder sight unseen.
Right.
But how often would you say that actually is? Because I feel like I have gone out looking specifically for cards, and I have struck out so many times. I'm just curious. Maybe I'm going to the wrong places.
I don't see cards as often.
Okay.
I don't. But I mean, it was, I think last year there was a sale in Hendersonville, not far from here.
Mm-hmm.
And they were literally clearing their storage that they had for years. I mean, decades of cards, sealed cards, boxes, everything else.
Was this like a specially advertised sale?
It was literally just listed sports cards on the listing.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'm nosy enough to go.
Well, if they list sports cards on there, I would say that would be something that would get my attention.
But I will say that I go at least once a week.
Yeah.
I go to yard sales. I mean, throughout the year, often Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Very, very often.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that it is the exception, not the rule, to find sports cards.
Okay. That you know what? That is a peace of mind that I think a lot of people can have, is knowing, like, I
mean, I'm literally going to thousands of yard sales a year. There are a lot of people who are very casual about going garage selling, or maybe they have some time.
Sure.
It is, I consider it part of my job. I go very, very often.
Now, this is like your time of year, though, right?
It is.
This is when they start starting
the consignment,
back up.
Well, and the neighborhood sales are awesome, because you can just, you can hit 50 sales in one neighborhood.
There you go. Yeah.
And
cool.
everybody kind of participates because it becomes a neighborhood thing. And
okay. I like that.
So, I do that very often. And again, it's not something, I'm not going to say that people are never going to find the Mickey Mantle in the box, because I think we all hope that. We all hope that's, we're going to get a box of cards and that's going to be in there. And some people have those fairy tale moments.
Yeah.
It is not typical for me to find sports cards, and it is not typical to find something that I'm thrilled about.
Okay. So it's probably become a harder thing in more recent years, I'm guessing, just because people.
Well, I don't know if you feel this way. You're talking about like with Pokemon and stuff. And again, that's not something I'm incredibly educated about, but I know that anytime something's picked up on the news, people have a sense about it. And I feel like that there was a time when the market for antiques and things like that took a different direction because of like American Pickers.
Oh yeah, of course.
Everyone immediately thought every sign was worth $1,000. The beat up sign in the back of their garage. Wait a minute, I'm going to get rich off that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it changed the market in a way that wasn't really authentic in a sense.
Yeah,
because those items,
yeah.
those items are not typically worth that money. The TV shows are great, but those are obviously curated picks.
Sure.
But it doesn't feel that way to those people watching.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
And so I feel like when you have somebody, I don't know if you saw, there was last week, I believe it was a gentleman, it was Good Morning America or something like that. And he had his childhood cards.
I didn't see this.
So he literally took his binder from his childhood and went, and they had him in the headquarters of PSA.
Oh, okay.
And went through and graded his cards.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was really awesome. I mean, he had like I forgot, something was like a PSA 8, but in that condition, it sold for $2,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So really great cards, older cards. But it was neat to see the process. But you and I both know there are people at home now who have a card and they're like, wait, that's worth $2,000.
Yeah. Now they're out there trying to do this exact same. Oftentimes we find it's like, oh, well, it's quality. And I've got to think in the toy game, quality also plays a big part in value as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can find I'm an 80s kid. So if you can find a Lady J on the card from the 80s, from G.I. Joe, like that's premium. Really? Of course that's what you want.
Lady J?
Yes. Okay, it was, remember, her and Scarlet were the only girl characters that we had at the time.
G.I. Joe was right before my time. I feel like I was a Power Rangers guy. I didn't get into G.I. Joe. So I know plenty of people who do, and plenty of people that listen to this will probably have and laugh at me that I didn't know who that was. So.
Oh, Power Rangers is very... kind of their historic background back to Japan, like the lines of toys and everything. Like it was a long time before it made it here.
That's why, I had heard that was not like a thing that just because it was new here didn't mean it was new everywhere.
No, they were like literally a decade ahead of us with the development of characters and the lines and things.
So you had mentioned earlier that Lego is one of those things that kind of has outpaced the stock market. It's a crazy thing to think about, but it's pretty cool. Anything else that holds a premium value? Toys,
modern or a little bit older?
Either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's always going to be the things that you traditionally think about people collecting, but like figures related to the horror franchises.
That's like I said, same in cards. People love horror
like Godzilla.
Cards. Yeah.
Like I said, the Godzilla, the King Kong, that stuff. For whatever reason, adults and kids, they're into it.
Really,
and so and then there are definitely there are $2,000 and $3,000 Godzillas out there.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. Just like the action figure toy.
And you were talking about flips. One time I was literally at a yard sale and there was this little dusty box and it was a metal. had metal legs, and it was green plastic, and it was the traditional Frankenstein that we all think of.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And it was like $4 at a yard sale. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I didn't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the Universal Monsters, that kind of horror line, like...
Sure.
It's one of those where it's like, I'm not going to lose my $4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's enough
like
people
I'll look.
chasing.
And it was a Marks piece. It ended up being worth, about $450 or $500. And again, that's not making me wealthy, but you add those things up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're really great little flips.
Yeah. You said a Marks piece? What is that?
Marks is a brand of toys. It was Lewis Marks. And they did a lot of like kind of walking toys.
Oh, okay.
That like had very simple mechanisms. Mm-hmm. But they also did the like Johnny West. It was kind of a cowboy line that they did, and they had a lot of like kind of neighboring characters. So they had Jane West, which is like the female character, and then they had even some of the Indians like Geronimo and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Because those products were plastic, there's been varying success of them surviving through the years. Because, traditionally, if you think about it back then, mom and dad put the toys in the attic.
Sure, absolutely.
And so, of course, what's in the attic? Heat.
Down in the South especially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's been plenty of times through the years that I've come across a box of them and, they'll be melted together and you're like, dadgummit.
Yeah, that hurts. So Marks is a brand that seems
really
to
great
hold
toy brand.
More of a premium.
They had
Lego.
a lot of cowboy products. They also had some space products too. So they were that 50s, 60s.
What about, I think you mentioned it just in passing, but just the cars, why can't it Micro Machines and
Micro Machines for sure. And then Stompers is what I had specifically talked about.
And what's the thing that everybody else has that's
Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels. Thank you. Wow. That was brutal.
Oh, there's a huge market right now for Hot Wheels.
Is there?
I mean, people go into the stores. I mean, it's a total, cottage business. It's not one that I'm a part of because I'm not educated about that enough to be dangerous. But,
okay.
I mean, literally people will go in and like look through cases.
Of Hot Wheels. That's a thing right now that's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, there are literally $7,500 ones on the shelves, at Walmart and Walgreens now.
Okay. I need to find out which ones those are. I had no idea that was, because that's a thing that is interesting about, say, specifically Pokemon.
Sure.
We were talking about that because the products that are coming out right now, they'll retail at, say, $50 a box, but then someone can go and take that and flip it for maybe double that value. And that's...
Does that bother you?
It does, and it doesn't if it's someone that's not taking up everything, right? Like if they went in there and bought everything out, it's like, Jesus, like what, you're just trying to make money on it. But at the same time, it's like people are trying to make money. I'm making money off of doing podcasts and selling cards. Am I all that different than that person out there? But yeah, I guess there's a real problem in my head where I'm conflicted about motive. Like what's your motive of doing this? Are you doing this because you were trying to put food on the table, or are you doing this because you are trying to make a few extra bucks to go to a concert? It's like, I have a problem with the people who are doing for the concert and not for the ones who want to put food on the table. And I don't know who's who. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I guess my thought is, if you're going to go out to the store to take a kid's toy and flip it, I can't fault you for it, but I can't say like I 100% approve.
Sure. I mean, I guess where I draw the line is when I'm sure we all have seen the videos online, like with the Pokemon stuff. Yeah. Like I draw the line at physical assault. Like, just keep your hands off me.
Yes.
We're good. Yeah.
I think that's a fair place. So right. I would also draw the line.
But I see a lot of jostling in a lot of things, and I'm just like,
yeah, really, even in like the Hot Wheels market, for instance, are people getting like that intense over like looking for these things?
I mean, I've seen videos online, and you never know what's staged.
Sure.
But I've seen things where people are like jostling in the stores to look through like new shipments and stuff.
Really?
And I just don't care that much.
Wow.
No, but I wish them the best, because again, anything anybody's educated on and they know what to do with, like they're not hurting anybody in my mind, because what I think about is what I do for a living is like, things come into your life. You can't not get what you're supposed to.
Sure. Yeah.
That's always my thing, because you want to try to buy it all. You do.
Yeah.
And once you get into this line of work, you want to try to buy everything. And I'm not going to be able to buy everything, but I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff gets to where like you can't be first at every yard sale.
Fair. Yeah. You have to have realistic expectations. Yeah.
You do. And if you think about it, you can't be at Target and, Best Buy and GameStop if they all open at 10. You've got to choose a horse.
So I was going to ask you, so for the people that are out there looking for maybe, is there anything, well, before I ask that question, is there anything else that's like popular besides Hot Wheels that are in stores now that people are like, hey, that's a good flip. I can buy it at retail and then immediately sell it for more than what I got it for?
Oddly enough, even Pixar cars.
Pixar cars?
Yeah, okay. Like Lightning McQueen and everyone.
Oh, yeah.
They do chase. They do chase vehicles. Mm-hmm. So there's certain ones within each set that are limited.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I mean, they just did an Easter set.
Oh, okay.
Where Lightning McQueen had bunny ears.
And
then there's one where he's painted like an Easter egg. And then, there the one in there that everybody I think was kind of after for a while, there was like a painted Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, really?
But you got to think each store's getting less than 20.
Sure.
Total. Yeah. So, it really was something where it's like you're either going to get it or you're not. So they're limited by nature.
But that's interesting because I had no idea that they were making sets of these still. Like this was like something.
They have glow racers right now. They have the Cars on the Road that kind of goes along with the show on Disney Plus. I mean,
there's a Disney Plus car show right now.
Cars on the Road.
See, this is what I'm talking about. See, this is why I want to have people like yourself on here, Robin, because I have no idea that these things are even a thing to think about. Not to say that I'm necessarily going to go out to my Target.
No, of course.
But if I wanted to go to a place to buy one, would I go to Target or Walmart or where
exactly.
would I go?
You would start there. But I mean, there is this is awesome, but there's a Tomater a show. There's one little 5-minute clip on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Tomater does different things.
Yes.
Well, there's a monster truck mater.
Monster truck mater?
Mm-hmm. And he is a wrestler.
What?
Yeah.
This is a show or this is a
toy? It's a 5-minute little show.
Okay.
But there's also toys now. There's toys.
Wow.
But they were so it's a 5-minute show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That has a limited series of toys.
And these are popular.
Well, they're scarce.
Okay.
Because you got to think it's a 5-minute show.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, you're literally looking. There's a 5-character set that used retails for around $100.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we're not talking millions of dollars. This is not.
Sure.
Of course, there are always going to be $1 million toys out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Just, I don't have any.
But I mean, the thing is like to be on the lookout for things like that. What?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking $6.99 retail.
Yeah. I mean, it's like.
That's accessible to everyone.
People go to garage sales all the time. People are like on eBay, especially in our like world of cards. People are on eBay all the time looking for cards. And it's like, it's inevitable, especially on the non-sport side of things. You do a Google search of, Marvel character, and maybe you get a toy that pops up with it. People want to be on the lookout for those kinds of things. And they more than likely have that in their collection along with a card.
Absolutely.
So it's you on to talk about like what to keep an eye out for. So they have, hey, I they may like it, but they also may want to have something of value in
maybe
their
they could buy two, one to keep and one to sell.
There you go. Exactly.
So I mean, it's something that's accessible. There's a lot of people that resell toys. I mean, it's a fairly common thing. It's fairly common, I suppose, in my world because I come across it. But I mean, even there was a little boy at the flea market for several months that was there with his grandparents. Mm-hmm. And so they set up as a vendor, and he would come over and horse trade with me all weekend. Oh, right. And, try to get something he would sell it. Yeah, and then he would come back and he'd be like, and he would buy something and he would go resell it at his booth.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it's awesome because, I mean, how else are kids going to learn to barter?
Yeah, absolutely.
And do those kinds of things because it's not, obviously Walmart's not taking a deal.
No, absolutely not. Well, besides Walmart and Target, where do people go to buy new toys?
I think you'd be surprised at how many people buy everything on Amazon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Amazon does have a lot of licensing agreements with various vendors and things. They have an enormous amount. Like if you type in Amazon exclusive. Okay. Like they have a lot of like action figures and sets and things that, I mean.
Are there toys like in the, say Hot Wheels or others where they will, I guess like black out the box so you can't actually see, so it's a mystery? Because that's one of the things with cards that I think is a little different probably than with toys. Sure. It's like you don't know what you're going to get.
Well, so there's like a whole segment of the market that does blind bags.
There is,
Funko and things like that. Like it's all themed for like Harry Potter or Disney or Stitch or whatever. I think there's a huge market now with blind bags where my generation would have never. Okay. Can you imagine our parents if we'd asked to buy something and we didn't know what we were getting?
I don't think they would have bought me whether I knew it or not. But yeah, it's a good point.
So now, it's $8.99 for a blind bag and you don't know what you're getting. I mean, yeah. But there's they enjoy it now. Sure. And some kids do like unboxing. Even at a young age, they do unboxing videos or things on TikTok and stuff. So there's a whole culture now built around blind bags that didn't exist before.
Do you think I asked this question that comes up in the card world a lot. because there's breaking, like, so opening boxes of cards.
Sure. I know.
Okay. So do you think that the aspect of blind bags and toys is teaching kids like a gambling mentality?
I think of it more in sports cards because typically sports cards are more for value. And I think when you get into these toys, people are not looking to sell them. I don't think most of your 8-year-olds are hoping they get the valuable one. They just want to get the one they want.
Okay. All right. I think
that's different.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think you're right. There is a difference in value a lot of times because some people are trying to open cards for $1,000 or more card versus maybe twice as what you paid for a value toy or something. You were
talking though about like things you collect. I mean, and I don't want to get too far off of what we're talking about, but like for me personally, I collect Ozzie Smith is my favorite baseball player.
Oh, cool.
So I have an extensive collection, cards and other things for him.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
For decades. And then I collect Reba McEntire.
Just like anything Reba related?
Autographs. I have hundreds.
Oh, wow.
And I try to find neat stuff. And then like she made a record when she was 12 with her brother and sister for Christmas money. There's a story, there's a whole clip that she talks about.
Oh, cool.
So there were 1,000 of these made in 1967. Mm-hmm. And I spent 25 years tracking one down till I finally found it. I didn't think I'd ever get one because you got to think they were nobody in Oklahoma.
Sure.
And they were selling these records for $1 a piece to get Christmas money.
Wow.
And I mean, I placed ads in newspapers in that area trying to find one.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it was 25 years. Wow. That's so cool though. It's cool to know like what people collect. And I think that's
I think that's what's terrible though for some of us, like myself. Like when I say I collect something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Like I want all of it.
There is that collector's mentality where it's like, I have to have this and I will continue the rest of my life until I find that thing, which people, I hate that some people prey on it, but at the same time, it's like, it's really cool to know there's a community of other collectors. And I think what this podcast is kind of, my goal is to find what are people collecting? What are the hobbies that people get into that are outside of, yes, we cover cards, but outside of cards, there's still a lot of like crossover. The fact that you collect a Reba McEntire autographs is definitely something that I could see people wanting on their cards. Like their Panini did like these country music cards not too long ago.
She wasn't a part of this.
She was not part of that, but I can imagine if she was.
I have her on cards.
Oh, do you have her on cards?
I do.
Really?
There was a logo for MCA that was in the cards, Country Gold cards that came out in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
And I maniacally.
She's on some of those.
I had her sign those.
Really? Wow, that's so fun.
Because that, and then this will date me tremendously, but there were phone cards. She did phone cards with Frito-Lay when she did the Frito-Lay sponsorship, and I got like 3 of them finally.
You know, it's funny. I literally, I think I just won 1 or 2 on Fanatics Collect, where they mainly sell cards, but I bought like a couple Dragon Ball Z phone cards from that site.
We're going to start talking about Pogs next.
Hey, listen.
I'm just saying. I have some Michael Jordan ones.
You want to start talking about Pogs?
See?
Oh, this is a Babe Ruth pin.
Look at that. No, that's going to say that's a pin back.
This is my
Pog collection.
Michael Jordan Pog collection.
I have some of those. Mine are in sleeves. I win.
Oh, there's sleeve for Pogs?
Yes, I'll have to show you.
Oh, wow.
This is awesome. These are Shaquille O'Neal. But no, I mean, I think ultimately when you start talking about cards and things, when I was a kid and I opened a pack of cards, I was hoping to get an Ozzie Smith.
Wow.
I mean, from the age of 8 on, that was what I was hoping to get.
But you knew.
And I'm thankful that I grew up in a world where I was just collecting the cards because I loved them.
Yeah, I like that too. That's how I was. When I was a kid, I didn't know.
There are kids now, I'm sure you've seen them too, walking around, whether it's Pokemon or football. You know, these kids will walk around with their case.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't have afforded the case when I was 12. But, you know, they've got $30,000 worth of cards inside.
We talk about that a lot of times where it's like these kids with their Zion cases and it's like they look like they should be like doing business ads or something like that. And they like come up and they're like trying to negotiate a deal. And I'm like, if I was that kid at that age, I would be too afraid to talk to the person at the table, let alone try and negotiate a deal. So yeah, kids are built different.
It's a different culture now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, they are looking for the $5,000 card when they open a pack.
I mean,
we were hoping to get our favorite player or trade to our friend.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's crossover, right? But it is one of those where you definitely see more of the flipper mentality in kids than just the collector we saw more of when we were kids.
I hope there are still kids out there who are collecting because I love it.
I think so. I hope we hear from enough parents of card collectors that they just want this because it completes a set, or it's like it's their favorite player for XYZ, and it's like, oh, yeah, these people aren't trying to just get a good deal on a card to go out and sell it on eBay. They're actually wanting it to.
Well, and I have, I'm sure you've done it too. I mean, the Caitlin Clark phase of all of this.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Whenever I had a card that didn't come back graded the way I wanted to, I left it at the shop and had them to ask them to give it to a little girl.
Oh, really? Oh,
all the time. I've done it several times. I mean, and that's not any kind of benevolent thing. It's just because I believe that, especially as a woman, I love that little girls are excited about these cards.
Hey, I'm a father of one daughter, and I totally understand. I think the fact that the market for Caitlin Clark is so hot is one of those things where I can't see any downside, at least right now, where it's like, I want to see more female athletes and just female characters being, I guess, included, desired for something besides like some kind of like physical appeal.
Sure.
And that, because I have a daughter now, it's like, I want her to have a desire for all the right reasons. And it's like, I don't think she'll ever be a basketball player, an athlete, but I think, well, why couldn't she do something else that people desire her for her skill? And so at this rate, I think, well, Caitlin Clark is setting such milestones. Why couldn't there be, a gamer or someone who
a Pokemon character?
Well, a Pokemon character. I think too. Like we just see so many male-driven things in the hobbies that we're around in. As a guy, I like a lot of those things, but for her, I'm like, well, I think she wouldn't mind seeing a few more females here and there, but at the same time, I want there to be a lot of guy things because I'm a guy. So
right, of course. But hey, how cool would it be if you guys could go to the store together and you're both looking for something?
Yeah, exactly. No,
so I like that. That market's opened up because there weren't a lot of little girls looking for Ozzie Smith cards when I was a kid. It wasn't something I could talk to my friends about because they didn't care.
I can imagine that's probably not a big chase back then.
No.
Okay, well, Robin, this has been great. I really do appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Maybe we can do something again in the future.
Absolutely.
But if there's any place that people can find out more about what you're doing, what you're selling, you said
my Facebook
it's so
page,
not trash.
It's a little dog that's a trash can. That's the logo. It's by Rescue Dog.
Oh, okay.
That I used as an example for that. And it's so not trash on Facebook. And if there's anything you're looking for, hit me up. And then I'm at the Nashville Flea Market every month.
There we go. Awesome. Robin Black, thank you so much for joining
Thanks for
the
leaving
podcast.
me the time.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys. That was the show. Thank you so much for listening. As usual, I do appreciate it. I think it's kind of obvious to tell. The interviews, I feel much more natural. And when it's just the one-off me in the office doing the opening of the show, and for that matter, the closing of the show, I don't know. This is one of these things. I need someone in here. But in the meantime, I'll continue to do my best and continue to try and get people in the office to talk about these kinds of things. Now, granted, Robin was in the office to do that interview, but she's not a card person so much. Obviously, she is. After you guys heard that, she definitely has her own affinity for cards. But I was like, a lot of this stuff may not be something she's as interested in. But who knows? Maybe I should have shared it. Time will tell. We'll see what you guys think. That's your show. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.